Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kays, and on this video we are going to be looking at the most interesting, creepy and scary TikTok videos that are going to keep you up at night. So don't watch alone. Buckle up and let's dive right in.
I got an email from a woman named Lee who told me that an alien was trying to break into her back door, and she actually sent me a video, so I'm gonna play that in a second. Oh, there's my mom. I'm at my mom's house. Hey, say hey, mom. Couple things before I play the video. This happened at 4:15 in the morning. She said she was in bed, her and her daughter were asleep when she heard a loud bang coming from her basement where her back door is. She thought something exploded. She didn't think it was anybody at the door. So she came around, you see her on the video, peek around the corner. So that first person you see is her. She said when she peeked around the corner, she saw someone banging on the door, like the door was moving and the handle was turning like someone was trying to get in. So that's when she went back upstairs, got something to protect herself with, locked her daughter and her dogs in a room, and came back downstairs. The defense object is blurred out in this video. So I'm gonna play the video, turn up your volume because you need to hear the noises, because she said that she didn't hear these noises coming until she played the camera's footage in her basement afterward. And then I'll tell you what she said happened after.
What? Yo. Did you see that? Yo. Oh, okay.
So after she turned the light off, she was around the corner waiting because she thought it was fully a person trying to break in. She turned the porch light on outside. She waited for about 10 minutes, but the banging stopped. After about 15 minutes, she goes outside to check the area, but she said it was very strange because her gate was locked. She has an old wooden fence. She said that for sure would have collapsed had someone tried to jump over it. There were no tracks in the grass, no tracks in the dirt. There was no damage to the door. She says she has absolutely no idea what this was, but she has a feeling it was an alien because the strangest thing was that for 2 days leading up to that event, she had had a strange feeling, like her intuition was off. And when she went outside to check the area, she had a feeling like she was being watched, but there was nobody in her yard. She said the feeling was coming from the roof. Lee said I could use her real name, so she'll be seeing the comments, so let her know if you have any thoughts as to what this might have been, and keep sending me your spooky scary stories. I'll keep adding them to this playlist. Also, my mom wanted to say bye.
That one scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Wow, that was crazy. I don't know what I would have done if I was in that situation, but yo.
Bro, what the?
Okay. Whoa. Okay, that was real. Wow. Wow. What? I mean, the fact that cats or animals can see other dimensions, that could have creeped the shit out of me.
In 1979, a teenage girl accepts a babysitting job at an isolated home in the Minnesota woods. After putting the children to bed, she settles on the couch to watch TV, only to be startled by a phone call. She picks it up and hears heavy breathing, when suddenly a man's unsettling voice asks, "Have you checked on the children?" Nervous, she dismisses it as a prank and hangs up. 15 minutes later, the phone rings again. This time the voice asks, "Why haven't you checked on the children?" Panic sets in and she calls 911. The operator advises her to keep the caller on the line if they call back, allowing the call to be traced. Moments later, the phone rings again, and the voice snarls, "Check on the children now." Trembling, she keeps the call connected as instructed. Once more the phone rings. The operator's voice crackles through, urgent and frantic. "Get out of the house. The calls are coming from upstairs." Terrified but worried about the children, she hesitates before fleeing outside. She bolted out of the house, her heart pounding in her chest. There, a tall man stepped out of the shadows, his presence looming as he stared her down with a chilling intensity, and he asked in a cold, menacing voice, "Why didn't you check on the children?"
Wait, what? So was the guy in the children's room or was he outside? Because, yo. Okay, pause. I thought I saw something. Okay, that was weird. Yo, guys, I thought I was tripping until I rewatched this video again and I was editing, and guys, I can see something like a light that just passes, and I don't think it's my normal lighting, but yo, let me know what this is. I'm going to play it in slow-mo so that you can see it, but wow, that was so weird. Ha!
Cheeseburger. Literal fucking demon.
We don't find a mystical slug. First, we should mushrooms.
كيما كيخرج لك المر هكا وشو عورك.
Okay.
This is one of
Wow.
the scariest stories I've ever read. It was posted 10 years ago on Reddit by an account called A Writer Named Williams. It was on the subreddit called Let's Not Meet. The story is called Poker Face. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this very scary story. This happened in Antioch, California. It was around 2 a.m. I was at a friend's house, safe in warm, sheltered suburbia. We were having a lot to drink, chit-chatting, enjoying ourselves, of course. When you're having fun, time hits the fast-forward button, and those few minutes turn into an hour. I had too much to drink. My friend has a bit of an abrupt bedtime, so I had to dodge out early, still intoxicated. I felt too shameful thinking I'd be asking too much to stay in his house to sleep off the drunkenness. I suppose he was either too rude or too drunk to consider it himself. Whatever. Sometimes a little inconvenience makes you appreciate everything else. I needed about another hour or so to sober up and drive back. As fast as time passed during my stay, it decided to drastically slow down as soon as I stepped out of his house. It was a cul-de-sac area, a concrete jungle with the stem of the street breaking into a fork. Alongside the road, my car was parked. The only street light that worked was in the middle of the cul-de-sac circle, about 80 yards away. I stumbled towards my car, produced my keys, and felt the metal line up. Opened my door and shifted to the back seat. Because this was a dark, strange, and unfamiliar neighborhood, I took the leftover newspapers and a sweater in my back seat to cover myself up. I was a little scared. I wanted to camouflage myself and not just be some guy awkwardly sitting in his car, waiting for time to pass in order to drive home. I couldn't fall asleep. The uncomfortable feeling of a cheap backseat bed enshrouded in darkness didn't make the chance of slumber easier. It felt too ominous, and of course my mind began to wonder. I thought of worst-case scenarios, like how the police would shine their lights on me through the window, or a drunk driver hitting my car, and... Wait. In the distance, about 100 yards away, I hear footsteps approaching. The gravel scuffed with each step forward, growing in proximity but periodically taking stops. I wondered why until it made sense in my mind. Whoever it was probably looking through cars carefully, with the intent to steal one. I couldn't recall how many cars were on the block, but I counted 3 full stops until he was at my window, breathing. I froze. There was no more than 1 foot between us. The car encapsulated me as I lay hidden beneath backseat clutter, forming myself into an object, trying my hardest to be unnoticeable, unmoving, and simply not there. "I see you," said a 40-plus-year-old man in a perverse baby talk.
What the fuck?
I imagine when you were playing hide and seek and one of your friends tricks you into coming out, he said it in that tone of voice, as if baiting me, like he was questioning whether the clutter in the back seat was just clutter or a person. I didn't want to move or check the window. I remained clutter. Give me an Academy Award. My body reacted by minimizing my breathing so much that I felt paralyzed. I dare not to look. My eyes fixated on the back of the passenger seat. I didn't blink, I didn't move, I didn't breathe. My heart was pounding so hard it shook my body with each throb. He circled around the car. My ears didn't fail me. I heard the steps. I felt like I was part of the car. I could feel him touching the trunk as he carefully pressed down on it, as if to test the alarm, as if to test me. I was in the middle of fight or flight. I couldn't do either without elevating danger. I was frozen and hoping to God he was bluffing. He circled the car again. The door handle to my right jiggled. He was pulling it multiple times. "I see you." Same tone, but more agitated and stressed, more convinced that he was trying to make that clutter move, revealing itself to be one of his expectations that it was me. My muscles tensed like a cow before slaughter. That had to be metal against glass. "Take a penny right now and tap your window." A crowbar, a knife, a rock, a gun. My eyes fixated on the seat in front of me, never averting my gaze like he was. I was covered enough to where I couldn't see beyond the seat in front of me. I know I couldn't see him, but I can feel his eyes resting on top of me.
"My name is Poker Face. What's your name?"
The voice changed in a lower, demented and serious tone. My mind forced a visual. It wasn't anything human. I already accepted my death. I was ready to be shot in the head, ready to take a life-changing bullet, multiple knife wounds. Just make this sleep bearable, not excruciating, as you drain me of life. I wouldn't know how to react. My thoughts grew dimmer. I imagined my friend waking up the next morning after a calm night of safe and sound sleep, only to discover my mutilated, defiled, and bloody body hanging outside of my car door. It was then I heard nothing but my own heart. What was this person doing now? Just staring at me in the middle of the night, talking to me, or a messy pile in the back seat? Time froze. The footsteps were being swallowed in the distance.
Wow.
Thank God he left. I waited another hour until the sun showed hints of itself. I jumped in my front seat and bolted out of there, wide-eyed and sober. And that's the end of the story.
Wow. What? Wow, that was so creepy. I feel like this guy was just looking for somebody to mess with, and he was hoping that he's gonna find someone. So when he didn't get the reaction, he left. Otherwise, if he was just trying to steal cars, he would have stolen one already. But yo, let me know what you think. Yo.
Now this next video comes from a mother known as Stephanie Johnson, who was doing a live stream with one of her kids when something happened that forced her to end the live feed at once. The incident had completely taken Stephanie by surprise, but not as much as her daughter, who was terribly shaken up by what happened. The two had been doing a live stream inside their house when no one else was home. It was just Stephanie and her child alone at home, letting viewers know that they'll be taking a 5-minute break from the live stream when this is captured.
5 minutes! 5 minutes! We're gonna be back in 5 minutes. What are you scared of? All right, before you go, say Happy New Year. I'm scared. What are you scared of? I'm scared. Of what? I'm scared. I'm scared too. Of my own life. My ghost. There's not a ghost, you psycho. Did you hear that? She said she's afraid of the ghost. Where's the ghost? Ghost. Where is it? Where's the ghost? Show mommy. Point to it. You're fine. Where is it? Point. Is it over there? Is it over there? Is it over there? Where is it? Ghost. Where's the ghost? Ghost. Where? Is it Grandpa? Yeah. It's not? What's the matter? Okay, come here. Do you see what I deal with?
Stephanie immediately ends the live stream to console her daughter, making sure she's okay, because, as it seems, something had terribly spooked her. As soon as Charlie, her daughter, said that a ghost was there, Stephanie assumed it was her grandfather's spirit. Perhaps she said this to lighten up the situation. But strangely, Charlie quickly said no and proceeded to have an outburst. If it wasn't her supposed grandpa's ghost, then what was it? While some believe that something was present, others write that the video had simply spooked them. It's all in Charlie's reaction. There had to be something quite upsetting to elicit such a sudden response, but it's never made certain. Neither Stephanie nor others in her family who've seen this clip could figure out what it was that had made Charlie so frightened. But let me know your thoughts on this one. Just what had spooked Charlie? At a local bakery, a couple of kids are waiting patiently to get some candy from the shop's baker. It's Halloween, and the bakery's giving out treats to those who stop by. Although everyone in this video is getting some candy, one kid in particular isn't. He stands a few feet away from the group while seemingly observing them. It could be that he's shy and therefore hesitant to step forward. Or, as many comments have noted, it may be that he's seeing something. Now you might miss it, but at the start of the video, the small boy says something out loud, like "look it," as if noticing something in front of him. He even points at whatever it is that he's seeing. As soon as he does this, this happens. Watch closely. For some reason, the boy suddenly stops in his tracks as if something was blocking his path. He stands in place while staring at something unseen, but then his head quickly tilts up in the same way that someone would after being hit or pushed to the ground. In comment after comment, the same thing is being said. Something had pushed the boy. From the sudden pause in his walk, to earlier when he said "look it" while pointing at something, it's understandable as to why many think this. So, did something actually push the boy? Or was something else at play here that caused him to fall? It's hard to say, but the more you watch this clip, the harder it gets to answer this question.
Now, although this next video doesn't have the best quality in terms of its footage, it is still nonetheless creepy. The video itself has little to no information, as with most videos that come from another country. However, we can easily tell what's going on in the footage. Someone, along with others, are at a cemetery where they seem to be visiting a certain gravesite. All appears to be normal until minutes later when the following is caught on camera.
A ellos les he cobrado.
Ah, bueno, pero ellos tienen más dinero que yo. Ay, sí. Ponerme como ellos. Menos por benigno que es español. Entonces, allá en un gato.
No, lo he cobrado barato, lo he cobrado a 70 pesos el metro. A 100 pesos. Cualquiera que usted le pregunte para cómo cobra el metro y tú piensas que van a ver. Y es que si haya quien me va a pegar, me va a salir
Towards the end of the video, we can see what appears to be a shadow-like figure quickly manifest out of nowhere and then disappear seconds later. Given the location of this video, viewers are confident that whatever this was had to be something supernatural. Yet, with very little information on this video, it's hard to be sure if that's the case. That being said, had a ghost been caught on camera, or was something else captured?
Zoe Bruno and her family live on a farm that they believe is haunted. However, based on videos that Zoe has posted, viewers believe that it's not just haunted, but also cursed. In a recent video, Zoe shared that one of her pigs had given birth to a pair of baby pigs born with unusual deformities. Unfortunately, they were born dead. Now this was unlike anything the family has ever seen. Because of this, along with other strange occurrences, they believe that something very strange is happening on their farm. But then one night, the strangest thing was caught on camera. Zoe's sister was home alone when she heard weird noises coming from the pig stable outside. She began to record immediately. This is what was caught.
Hola chicos, estoy grabando este video porque mi papá y mi mamá se fueron a comprar una cosa en el almacén y mi hermano Seban está en la pieza, pero yo sentí el olorado por acá. No sé qué está pasando, pero quiero tratar de grabar. ¡Ah! Miren eso. ¡Ah! ¡Ah!
If you look close enough, you can see what appears to be a face peeping from behind a wooden post. Whoever or whatever this is definitely unsettling to look at. Naturally, Zoe's sister had reacted the way she did. She's alive and well, but mentally, she is not okay, for what she'd seen in the stable has left her traumatized. Until Zoe posts more footage, we won't know for sure what this was. But until then, this video remains a mystery. A man is woken up late at night after hearing strange noises inside his house. The source of the sound seems to be coming from downstairs, but naturally, the man hesitates to check out the noise. Marvin Caguas had recorded the following video, and to this day, he has no idea as to what happened inside his home that night. Marvin wasn't sure if his housemate was trying to scare him, or if this was another strange occurrence, which often happens in his home. Little did he know that this wasn't a prank, but rather an occurrence that would leave him terrified. Along with this video, Marvin writes, "Strange things always happen in my house, and it's only now that I've tried to film some of these events." The following is the video he took.
Alvin. Funny anymore, man. Dude. Alvin. Shit ain't funny, man. Alvin.
As soon as Marvin heads back inside after checking the garage, a loud thump is heard inside the house. It isn't until seconds later that the light fixture is seen swing back and forth on its own, as though someone had swung it lightly. And of course, as anyone would, Marvin runs away and heads back to his room, where the video comes to an end. It goes without saying, but this incident has left him shook. It wasn't until noticing that his housemate was gone that he came to realize that this wasn't a prank, but rather one of many strange occurrences that have taken place in his home. However, as if what occurred that night wasn't chilling enough, Marvin had caught footage of something else that has left him even more disturbed. What was supposed to be a video of him showing off a neat feature he discovered on his motion sensing gaming device turned out to be a video of something else entirely. Take a look.
Hey you guys, I just wanted to show you guys a pretty quick feature of the Xbox One and its Kinect. It actually has a pretty cool night vision that I just found today. If you guys already know it has night vision, then I'm going to show the people who don't know. So, right now it's completely dark in this house right now. All you can basically see is my Xbox One controller. Now I'm going to switch on the night vision for you guys. As you can see, it's just, it lights up the whole room. It's actually a pretty cool feature. I don't know if they have an app for this or whatnot, but they also have this version of the camera. I don't know what it is. I think it's either infrared or something like that. And then back to dark. As you can see, all you can see is my Xbox controller. And then back to night vision. It's actually, pretty cool feature for the Xbox Kinect that I haven't really heard of until now. Maybe they have an app for it or something like that. But yeah, thanks for watching.
Right when Marvin turns off the lights and activates night vision mode on the sensor, two shadow-like figures can be seen manifesting behind him in what appears to be the kitchen. The first one is seen moving about for just a few seconds before heading downwards and then disappearing, whereas the other shadow appears afterwards and vanishes soon after night vision mode is turned back on. It's obvious that he hadn't noticed this until rewatching the footage, and, as you might expect, it was after watching it that he couldn't help but think that something unexplainable was caught on camera. Now, most viewers seem to believe that a ghost or an entity of some kind was caught on film. But like with most videos, we can't be sure if that's the case. As always, it's up to you to conclude as to whether or not a ghost was caught on camera. Until more evidence or context is given on the situation, Marvin's case remains a mystery. Jess Kuma is the owner of two dogs, who she treats as though they were her children. She cares for them so much that she would never hurt them. However, one night, while Jess is away from home, something happens to one of her dogs who were left alone. After watching the security footage from her home, she was left terrified. Jess writes, "Came home from a movie to find this on the camera. Something pushed my dog. This is what was caught." It appears that someone had pushed her dog from what seems to be a closet. Now, it could be that someone was hiding inside and had pushed the dog away, therefore making this video a hoax. But Jess disagrees, as she shows us that it would be impossible for anyone to have been there.
First of all, there's no closet. There's the camera looking down at them. This is where they hang out while we're gone. This is their leashes. This is a cabinet door that fell off of our cabinet that we've been waiting to get rehung by maintenance.
So, if it wasn't a closet where someone could have hid inside, then who or what could have pushed her dog? Perhaps it pushed itself after being scared by the leash on the wall. However, a closer look at this scene shows that the way in which the dog is pushed appears to be too forceful to have done it on its own. Was a ghost responsible for this? Or was it something else?
Caralho, bicho, que é isso, mano? Cuidado, Judá.
Cuidado, mano. Que é isso, mano?
Mano, não tem nada.
Caralho, mano. Que é isso, bicho? Caralho, mano. Mano, que é isso, bicho? Caralho, mano. Bora, mano.
É doido, Deus me livre, mano.
Vai, mano. Vai, mano. Vai, mano. Vai, mano. Vai, mano. Corre. Caralho, mano. Que é isso, bicho?
We're gonna call this one The Neighbor from Hell. I am back with another spooky story. So there was once this woman by the name of Mariah. She was happily married with 2 kids, a boy at the age of 7 and a girl at the age of 16. They lived a very happy and comfortable life until their new neighbor named Abby moved in. Abby was a single woman who seemed very kind, soon became very good friends with Mariah. They would often go to each other's houses for lunch and have chats. But one day, Abby baked some cupcakes for Mariah. Since this was normal at this point, Mariah was eager to try one of Abby's cupcakes. They sat, had their chats per usual. However, after a couple of minutes after eating these cupcakes, Mariah started to feel very sick. Mariah starts feeling dizzy and eventually she collapsed. And it turns out, just like that, Mariah passes away. Abby calls the ambulance, then calls Mariah's husband. She tells Mariah's husband that she got to Mariah's house and found Mariah already passed out. And there was no sort of suspicion from the husband, as he knew that Mariah and Abby were great friends. So some time goes by and Mariah's funeral is long past. Abby began to check on Mariah's husband frequently. And sooner and later, they became a couple. It had only been a few months since Mariah's death, and she had really seemed to care about the husband and kids. Mariah's son was very welcoming of Abby. However, the daughter was not. She felt as if Abby was trying to replace her mother, and she was not there for that. She wasn't having it. Mind you, at that point, Abby started coming to the house a lot. She still had her home next door, but she would come over often to cook for the husband and kids. One day, Abby cooked a meal for dinner for the husband and the kids, and after one bite of the food, the husband was shocked. He instantly recognized that that was his late wife's secret recipe. And Abby just told him that his wife did share the recipe with her once while she was alive. Nobody thought too much about it and just ate the food. Now, during the dinner, the daughter was having an attitude the whole time. It got to a point where she stormed out of the table and went to her room. But before she went, she didn't leave without a bang, as she had some very nasty and disrespectful things to say to Abby. Dinner ended and Abby went back home as usual. The next day, the daughter felt a bit apologetic about some of the things that she said. She decided that after school, she's just gonna go to Abby's and apologize. After school, she got to Abby's house and knocks on the door and no one answers. She knocks a few times, nobody's answering. So she decides to let herself in. So she walks in, she calls out for Abby, no one's answering. She walks towards the kitchen, and when she got to the kitchen, she saw her mother, Mariah. She could not believe her eyes. Her mom was standing there in the kitchen like a zombie. As she called out to her mom did not answer. Mind you, she was wearing the same clothes from the day that she died. And the scary part, was that she had a nail, the kind of nail used for wooden appliances, hammered into her forehead, and somehow she was still alive. So the daughter runs home, and since her dad was home, she called him and told him what she saw. But the dad, of course, does not believe her, so she's like, okay, come with me and I'll just show you. So he followed her to Abby's house, and they went inside, and he saw the exact same thing. He saw his wife, and he was in disbelief. He tried calling her and shaking her, but she was in a zombie-like state. He took his daughter and hurried home and told her, get in the car with your brother. They left and he took the kids to the grandparents' house, which was only about 10 to 15 minutes away. He came back home, went to Abby's house and blew a whistle. So basically, most communities in South Africa encourage households to have whistles so that they can blow if there's trouble, so that the community can hear it and they can come. So he blew the whistle as loud as he could, and people in the community heard it and came running, thinking that somebody's getting robbed, something horrible is happening. As the members of the community came, they saw Mariah. They were surprised. And in the midst of all the commotion, Abby came running in because she too heard the whistle. She came running thinking that maybe somebody broke into her property. And pretty much that was how she was caught by the community. Wow. That was yet another submission from South Africa. If you didn't guess already. You guys win the spooky stories because them shits be like movies. Wait, if you're not already, make sure you follow me on Instagram just so that I know that it's real. I'm trying to get to 10K. Please. And make sure you follow me on YouTube for longer, better, and spookier stories. A lot of y'all were bullying me for story times. I was fucking sick. Anyway, I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Haitian homegirl.
In 1977, a young couple was startled awake by a masked intruder shining a flashlight into their faces. The man, armed and coldly methodical, wasted no time. He tied the husband's hands tightly behind his back using shoelaces he had hidden in the house beforehand, and stacked plates and cups on the man's back as a crude alarm system, ensuring he couldn't move without alerting him. Then, turning his attention to the wife, he dragged her to another room where he assaulted her. Afterward, he sat silently in the room, making her believe he had left, only to terrify her further when she realized he was still there. The intruder spent hours terrorizing the home, rummaging through drawers, scattering belongings, and stealing valuables. His actions were deliberate, almost theatrical, as though he wanted to leave behind an unforgettable mark. It later became clear that this wasn't a random attack. He had stalked the couple for months, learning their routines and even breaking into their home beforehand to prepare for the night. The couple had no idea they were being watched so closely, but the horror didn't end there. Days later, the wife got a phone call. As she answered it, she heard this chilling message. Before I play the message, I just want to let you know that I'm working on long-form content for YouTube, so don't forget to subscribe, link in bio. This was just one of many attacks by the Golden State Killer, a predator whose crimes haunted California for years. It took 4 decades to uncover his identity. In 2018, Joseph D'Angelo, a former police officer, was arrested and confessed to his horrifying crimes. His capture brought long-awaited justice and some semblance of closure to his many victims.
Have you ever heard somebody say that everybody will meet a serial killer at least one time in their life? I don't know if that's true or not, but here's my story about how I think I actually did meet a serial killer. Forewarning, this is a little creepy and it's a bit of a long story. So back in 2019 to 2022, I did real estate photography, mainly in Cincinnati, but kind of all over Ohio. One day I got a call about a job where the realtor told me that the daughter of the homeowner who had passed was going to let me into this house because she had the keys. No big deal, very normal. So I show up to the house on my motorcycle because that's how I roll. But when I show up, it's not a woman waiting for me, it's a guy. He's a little bit short, kind of pudgy, balding on top. I said, "Hey, are you the person that's supposed to let me into the house?" And he says, "Yes." I said, "Are you the husband of the woman that was supposed to let me in?" He says, "No, I'm a friend of the daughter whose mom lived in this house," which is very weird, but whatever, he had the keys. So we go inside and this guy's giving me weird vibes immediately, but I chalk it up to maybe he's got a touch of the tism. I'm not gonna judge him. Here's where the red flags start though. When I started shooting, he kept walking closer and closer and closer to me, following me into every single room in the house. I repeatedly had to tell him to give me space so he wouldn't be in reflections and so he wouldn't bother me, but he wouldn't listen and kept getting closer and closer and closer. Now I could have just packed up my stuff and left, or I could have finished shooting really quick so I could get paid, and I chose to finish shooting. So I rush through all the photos and I tell him, "Hey, I'm done inside, I'm gonna shoot outside the house, and then after that, I'll be out of your hair." But then he says, "You forgot about the basement here." I said, "I didn't know that there was a basement. Is it finished? Because we don't usually take photos unless it's a finished basement." And he says, "No, but I would like you to take photos of it anyways because my friend of the friend told me that she wants photos of the basement." I thought that was kind of weird, but whatever. I don't want to argue with this guy. I just want to get this stuff done. So I'll go down, take 30 seconds to take one photo of the basement, and then I will leave. He shows me where the basement is, and I start to walk down the stairs, and I hear him following directly behind me, like one step behind my foot. So I stop midway down and I turn around and say, can you not follow me down here? Because I'm going to take one photo of the whole basement and I don't want you in the background. And he says, I would like to come in the basement as well. We don't move for a second. I'm staring at him, he's staring at me. We're both standing in the middle of this staircase and he has his hand behind his back. So I tell him, I'm not going to take photos of this basement. Please move out of the way. He moves, but he doesn't get out of the basement. He just slowly pushes himself up against the wall, so I have to walk right next to him to leave. So at this point, I figure this guy's either trying to rob me, kill me, or be romantic with me, and I don't want any three of those things to happen. So I push past him kind of quickly so he doesn't have time to react, and I grab my gear and I immediately walk outside. And he follows me and says, I would really like you to take a picture of the basement, please. And I said, no, I am not going to do that. And he gets really angry. He starts to shake a little bit. His fists are balled up. His brow is sweating slightly. His lips are pursed. But I don't care because I don't want to deal with this guy anymore. So I take a couple photos of the front of the house and I start packing up my gear to leave. He goes back inside. So I decide, whatever, I'm not going to talk to this guy anymore. It's not a big deal. As I'm packing up my stuff, I realize that I'm missing my lens cap. And no, I don't mean a lens cap like this. I mean one that's really big and looks like a thermos. It looks like this right here. It is not a small lens cap at all. It's about the size of a cup. I realize I left it inside the house somewhere, so I have to go back and talk to this guy. So I walk up to the house and I knock on the door and he answers immediately like he was waiting for me. But his demeanor is completely different. He's no longer angry. He's not frustrated. In fact, he's even nicer than he was when I first showed up. So I tell him, hey, I left my lens cap in here. Can I come in and just walk through really quick to see if I left it on a counter? And he goes, no problem. I know I'm going to find this immediately because it's a pretty big lens cap and this is an empty house with a couple tables, so it's not like it's lost in clutter or anything like that. But I don't find it. I looked in every single room, on top of tables, underneath tables, next to them. There was no lens cap in this house. Now, he stayed in the living room by the front door. He didn't follow me into any of these rooms. So I walk back to the living room and I say, hey, did you see this lens cap? It looks like this. I can't find it anywhere. He looks at me and he says, I think you might have left it in the basement. Nope, I didn't, because I didn't go down in the basement. I walked halfway down and I turned around and came right back up. I looked at him and I said, nope, I definitely didn't leave it in the basement. And he says, I think you left it in the basement. I didn't say a word to him. I turned around like I was still looking, walked out the back door, got on my motorcycle, and left. Here's the craziest thing about the entire situation. I get done shooting this place, I'm editing the photos, and I get a call from the realtor. They're like, hey, why didn't you shoot this house? This lady's waiting on you. Why didn't you show up? I said, what are you talking about? I'm looking at the photos that I just took right now. How is that possible? She said nobody showed up. She's been waiting on you. Well, she didn't let me in. It was the guy. It was her friend of the friend or whatever. Friend of a friend? What are you talking about? No one knew who this guy was. The homeowner's daughter was really confused. She's like, I didn't tell anybody to let you in. I didn't have a friend of a friend hold a key for you. What is going on right now? And they never found out who it was. To this day, no idea who let me in the house. By the way, there was a dismembered body found in Cincinnati in 2023, and a bunch of people speculated it was a serial killer, but Cincinnati keeps saying that's not the case.
Yourself by doing something happen, like make something happen that scares us, everybody, that like literally puts us on our
What the hell?
Baby, don't leave the fucking board.
Baby.
Don't leave the fucking board.
How am I supposed to not leave the fucking board?
Right. Is there anyone else in here besides us? Can you hear me?
Hold on, give it a minute.
How long we gotta fucking wait?
Here. Oh my god. Goodbye. Oh my god, I don't do this no more.
I'm freaked out now.
¿En serio? Si hay alguien en esta casa. ¿Hay alguien en esta casa?
No jodan, ¿en serio se movió? No jodan, ¿en serio? ¿Viste? Vos sos boluda.
Ay, no. Una joda. Ay, fue una joda. Basta.
Puedo hacer con esto.
Pero, boluda, no. Si vamos a ver, jodita. Ay, pero para empezar, bien.
Pero si vos... Bueno,
para Clarisa. Eso se movió en serio.
Sí.
Hay que terminar.
No, mira.
No,
Pennywise, are you down there? Are you... The fuck is that?
Who is that? Who are you? You guys can see this, right?
Who's here?
Guys, WTF.
Oh my god, dude.
In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls herself the holder of guilt. Before the worker can answer, shut your eyes tightly and clench your jaw. Count to exactly 20. Then open your eyes. You should find yourself on an unassuming dirt footpath in a moderately wooded area. If you are in any other location, then you miscounted the seconds and have only minutes to live. If you are on the dirt path, then walk along it. You should feel at all times an eddy of wind playing against your ear. Should you ever stop feeling it, quickly stand still and shout into the foliage, "I freely admit it was my fault." If the little eddy of wind does not return, then I suggest you make yourself comfortable and arm yourself, as these woods are now your home for all eternity, and they are filled to bursting with hidden creatures from the lowest pits of damnation, all eager to messily devour you. If the wind does return, then continue along the path as normal. After a long while, you should find a battered little shanty. Knock twice before entering. Failing to knock properly beforehand results in a punishment that cannot be adequately described in any human tongue. Upon entering the shanty, you will find yourself in a clean little kitchen. Quickly shut the door behind you and remain standing, head bowed respectfully, where you entered. Fervently working, the kitchen will be a woman who never turns to face you as she goes about her endless task of working on a meal that will never be finished. If you pay attention, you will notice that she works to an exact rhythm, but this is not terribly important, just an interesting detail. There is only one question to which this woman will respond. Why is it their fate to be used for wrong? Give her a moment. It will take a while before she gets around to answering. When she does, she will recount in your mother's voice, even if you have never heard your mother's voice. And in explicit detail, every wrong you have ever visited upon others, no matter how trivial, no matter if it was intentional or unintentional, no matter how shameless, unrepentant, or vile a person you are, or even if your wrongdoings are few or barely extant, you will feel the weight of your wrongdoing pressing down on you. Remain standing in your respectful pose even as the weight of your wrong increases to unbearable levels. If ever you falter, you will be crushed, doomed to remain a broken heap on the floor of this kitchen, listening to the woman repeat herself forever. Then again, that would mean you were never worthy of collecting all the objects in the first place. Once every wrong has been recited in excruciating detail, if you are still standing, the woman will ask you to retrieve an ingredient from a top cupboard. Go fetch it. Do not open any cupboard other than the one indicated, and do not turn your head in a way that would allow you to see the woman's face. There are fates worse than what would happen if you do either, but the list is very short. The ingredient she is looking for is the only spice that has no label. Hand it to her in a way that prevents you from looking her in the face, then return to where you were standing earlier. Wait a while, and she will eventually offer a small sample of her cooking for you to eat. Walk over to her and accept it, being careful not to put yourself in a position to see her face.
What the? Why would someone even want to do this?
Thank her politely. Tell her you had a wonderful time visiting and will come back another day. Then quietly leave via the door through which you came. You will find you have walked out of a supply closet in the mental institution. The food you acquired from the holder is no ordinary beef. It never rots, no matter how old it gets. And eating even a small bite of it will instantly heal all your wounds, no matter how grave. It does this, however, by transferring said wounds to someone you care deeply about. Survival in the future of this quest will make eating this beef necessary at least a few times. That chunk of cooked beef is object 116 of
What?
538.
Okay.
Hopefully the objects are
Okay.
important
Would
enough
you
to
try that
sacrifice
though?
people you genuinely care about.
Wow, that was crazy. Oh, that was so scary. So if you've watched up to this far, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I don't know why they're not pushing my videos, so make sure you watch my other videos that I've already posted. And yeah, also guys, thank you so much for the love and support you've been showing me through my PayPal. I appreciate you so much. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.